If you want to get incredibly strong with your body weight, more flexible than 99% of people, and do it all without a gym, this session is for you. We're going to use one movement and it's going to build from easiest to hardest. But let's warm the hips up first. Sit on the ground in the Z-sit position, one leg in front, one leg behind. Let's simply transition the legs and work side to side. Work on warming up the hips and becoming more comfortable, especially with that back hip sitting down to the ground. We're going to be utilizing the deep squat position a lot today, and this is one of the best ways to warm into it. The frog develops insane pushing strength from the shoulders and real life hip mobility. First, the horse. Take a wide stance, chest up. Gradually pull the torso down to the floor, receiving it with your hands. Weight to shoulders, small jump forward. We're just getting warmed up here. Feel the hips open to spread the knees. Feel the fingers, wrists, and shoulders activate to push the ground. Let's work on feeling connected here. We're learning how to integrate our lower and upper halves, which is much different than traditional gym exercises. And what I love about the horse version is that most people can do it. It doesn't require a full bend of the knees or ankles. And we start in what is an athletic position in most sports. Let's do one more set with 3 jumps down. All right, already feeling incredibly warmed up in the hips and shoulders, and that's just level 1. We're gonna move through 5 different levels that become increasingly harder. I've been using the frog in my training for the last 12 years. I'm not saying it's the only thing that's created my mobility or my physique, but it has been powerful, and there's a reason why it's stuck around. Now we're gonna move into that deep squat. Do your best to bend the knees and sink the hips low. If your heels come up or your hips aren't super low, that's completely fine. Now let's receive the ground and then push to jump our feet back close to our hands. Our objective here is to get smooth, to support on the shoulders strong, and to move the feet softly. And with each step, see if that deep squat can feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm a pretty tall guy with long femurs and stiff ankles from past injuries. The squat is not the most natural position for me, but I view that as a reason to work on it often rather than an excuse not to. See, the frog asks you to use the squat not just as a position, but as a means to movement. When we use something often for movement, this helps the body realize that it's important. And as I'm demonstrating here, it's all about finding that connection to the ground through the shoulders. Pressing the ground is real life push strength, not a perfect barbell or dumbbells, but something that humans were meant to interact with. Awesome work, y'all. We're gonna take about a 20 to 30 second break here, and then we'll be moving on to level 3. Level 3, we move on to the frog kick through. This isn't necessarily more challenging on mobility or strength, but it challenges our coordination and ability to learn. Begin at a slight diagonal. Reach hands forward, then pick up the inside hand to thread the foot through. Pull the foot back and reach the diagonal angle in the opposite direction. The foot back in the beginning will always be the one that threads through the middle. Move as slow as you need. This can be a tricky one to get the hang of. After you've done 3 or 4 in one direction, you can either turn around or walk back to the start. Remember, slight diagonal, shift onto the hands, pick one hand up, leg comes through. Strong through the shoulder, tuck the foot back to go diagonal the other way. Once you start to get this pattern, this one can feel really nice because you're using your coordination and rhythm centers. This isn't only good for the body, but it's good for the mind and the brain. All right, let's go ahead and do one more sequence. All right, awesome work. Because in the frog, we spend so much time in a deep squat, which is hip flexion, we're gonna work the opposite range in some hip extension stretching. So we'll start in a deep lunge stretch with one hand down, rotating the chest towards the front leg. Let's go ahead and pick up the hand, work your way back to center, and then we're gonna try to lift that back knee off the ground to make this more active. Be strong here, squeeze both glutes if you can, and try to feel like that back leg is getting pulled behind you. All right, nice work. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side, starting with the hand down kneeling lunge. And now let's transition to straight lunge, picking up the knee. All right, go ahead and relax, shake your legs out. Let's get ready for level 4. Now we have frog to support hold, and this gets harder, but we'll start with the beginner variation most people should be able to do. First, frog jump forward, then reach to one side, supporting yourself with your hands behind you in a crab position. Press the ground hard, straighten the knees, find the support position. Work your way back to squat, and we'll repeat. This one teaches you a high degree of body control. Just to transition from squat to the crab position can be challenging. Then the support position works your shoulders, core, and hip flexors immensely. Now this might feel clunky in the beginning, and your job is to get stronger and make it smoother. Once again, after you've done around 3 or 4 going one direction, we will reset and do another sequence. And this workout can be quite demanding on your hands and wrists because they're quite small joints, so make sure that you give them the appropriate amount of rest in between sets. Now we'll scale up into picking the feet up into an L-sit. If this feels way too challenging, keep doing the previous movement. As you take weight into your hands behind you, see if you can lift those feet from the floor. Of course, to bridge the gap, you can keep your knees bent in a tuck L-sit. You don't need to hold very long in the beginning. See if you can just lift the feet momentarily. To exit, pull yourself forward through your legs into that deep squat. The hip flexors and core play a huge role in feeling comfortable down low in your squat. And that's why I love this movement. It re-educates the body on how to compress. Getting really strong at pulling from the front side of your body allows the backside to open more. All right, awesome work. Let's recharge and get one more round. The last progression in this movement is very challenging. It either takes really mobile hips or long arms with great pushing strength. This has literally taken me multiple years to learn, so don't expect to get this one today. We start like our normal frog, but we're gonna cross the legs and then we're gonna bring them through the middle of the arms into the L-sit. Socks on a hard floor can help slide those feet through. Notice how much I protract the shoulder blades and get wide through my back. This helps give me the necessary space to slide my legs through. Now I have pretty long legs, which makes this movement more challenging, but I also have long arms as well, which actually assists the movement. I really like this as a goal to work towards because this movement embodies big push strength from the shoulders and adequate amount of hip mobility. Now I know some of you probably thought I was a bit dramatic in the beginning, saying you could get stronger and more flexible than 99% of people with just one move. But when you take into account this variation that we just did, you could probably see that's a true statement. And if you're anything like me and like to do movement more than just standing still and lifting weights, then this movement becomes very appealing. I owe a ton to this movement. I've been practicing it for over 10 years, and in the beginning, I had zero of this strength, but I've always kept this in my routine, at least in my warm-ups, and eventually I got way stronger, and you will too. The last level is frog hover. We go back to the basic frog and we just try to float on our hands for a moment. We lift the hips higher, we straighten the knees as much as we can, and we take weight into the shoulders. Think about pushing into the ground harder than you think that you can. Now, I know what you're thinking. Your body feels heavy. It doesn't want to float off the ground, but it's the intention of trying to float those hips into the air that'll really strengthen your shoulders. But another way that may be helpful to think of it is controlling the descent so you can set your feet down without making a sound. Sometimes giving yourself this goal will make your body perform. Be strong, but be soft. Even though level 4 seemed pretty darn hard, the reason this is level 5 is to catch yourself in this position takes incredible amounts of strength. The L-sit is hard, but your body has a lot of good leverage. This is essentially a handstand with your legs floating behind you, and this is a very disadvantaged position for the human body. That's why just being able to slowly lower the feet and even hover for a second off the ground is an extremely big win. If you can do this, you'll have all the strength you'll ever need pushing your arms overhead. Lovely work, y'all. If you come back and keep doing this around 2 times per week, you're gonna get incredibly strong and mobile. And let's do a quick crab press. Because we were pushing the arms in front of us so much, let's finish off with pressing them behind us. If you guys like this, you'll love our program Flexibility Flow. It's a 16-week program building mobility and bodyweight movement flow. You can try a week for free, first link below. Have a beautiful day, as always.